Well, welcome to the podcast on tonight. We'd like to welcome all of you who are watching live. And of course, those of you who will be watching a replay. I am Tamara P. Jones, founder of Beautifully Bold Women, where we're a community for women of faith who desire to live in the beauty of our purpose, align with God's agenda, and have success and serenity God's way. We're about supporting and empowering and encouraging women. We are a community that has 4 foundational pillars, and they are spiritual, mental, physical, and financial wellness. And we provide training, mentorship, special events, and collaboration opportunities. And on tonight, I'm so excited about our topic. And you guys know, if you've been following us lately, that we are always excited about what we bring here in this podcast at Beautifully Bold Women. And we're going to be talking about on tonight, the power of connection. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, we're going to be talking about the power of connection. And I'm just so excited on tonight because I believe this topic is so critical. And so you know how we do. If you need to tag a friend right now, text them, let them know we're live, we're here, we're in the room. Come on into YouTube, Instagram, and make sure you connect and share with others, because again, this is going to be an empowering conversation on the power of connection. And I'm just so excited always about, what we're able to share with you via this platform. I believe that community is all about connection. And the truth is, everybody needs somebody, right? Everybody needs somebody. No man is an island. The Bible even shares that 2 are better than 1. So when one falls, the other can lift it up. That's not just for marriages and relationships, but that's just mankind in general. We were made and created to work, live together. And so connection, I believe, is also key in our society, that leads us also to personal and professional growth. When you're around others, you connect with others, you can grow in life, grow professionally. And the world teaches us, I know a lot of times as women, to be self-reliant, to be strong, to be that independent women. But I believe that it's the people and the connections that we make along the way that truly causes us to have a greater impact in society. A lot of times I believe that we need to be more interdependent and understand that there's power in leveraging each other's gifts, strengths, talents, and resources that we have to truly live out our purpose fully so that we can impact the world. And so on tonight, I'm excited to introduce our very special guest, Miss Peggy Morris. We're exciting to celebrate, of course, Women's History Month, and she is the founder of Sisters for Sisters Network Incorporated, and she is absolutely a beautiful soul. She has been so encouraging to me over the years. She's a true influencer. She's dedicated her life to truly connecting women through networking, support, and resources. And she is an absolute bridge builder and unites women across not only the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, but I believe across the nation and even the world. And so she is someone who has had 30 years in the corporate sector, but she's also the background in government, community relations. And so I'm so excited to warmly welcome and introduce our special guest tonight as we celebrate and honor Women's History Month, none other than Mrs. Peggy Morris.
What more can I say? You said it all.
Now there's so much more you can say, so much more. I am just so elated, Peggy, that you are here. You and I met. It's been 20 years. I can't
Oh
believe
my God.
how the time has gone by. And I tried to remember my recesses of my mind. And usually I can remember, but I was like, where did I meet Peggy? All I know is I was in a place in Maryland. I've lived in Maryland previously, but I was in a new location. And I just wanted to meet professional women who are supportive. And somehow you and I connected. We met, and I'm telling you, it was absolutely just life changing for me at the time of really getting to connect with women in a way during a time that I was actually living in Maryland. My mother-in-law had been
Yeah.
diagnosed with cancer, and just so many things that were going on, and really having a community of women to connect with. And you had shared, hey, I have this organization called Sisters for Sisters Network Inc. Why don't you come, and come and connect with us. I think the first meeting I went to maybe in Silver Spring, and then it was a clubhouse
Yep.
somewhere in another place. And the women were so warm. And I was like, yes, this is it. And you just took me back underneath your wings. And I was just like so excited. You had an opportunity to meet my late mother, which was always
Yep.
fond of you. And just, I'm sure with her knowing that someone's in the area of your
I
caliber,
got you.
like, yeah, that's what you got me. And so I know that warmed her heart. And so I'm just so appreciative.
Oh,
You've been an absolute gem in my life. And over the years, you've always been supportive, always been encouraging, and that's been invaluable to me. And I truly believe that you have really helped me to understand over the years just connection and community, quite honestly. I mean, really, you have been, I believe, that blueprint for me to really have that connection to women and community. I've always been someone who empower women. That's a gift I have. It's something
yeah.
I do. We both have that kindred spirit of connecting women, but truly you were the one who really allowed and shaped my view, I believe, of connection and community. So I thank
Oh,
you and I honor you.
my heart is heavy, honey. I have, oh my goodness. I just want to say I simply love you. Number one, let's put it that way. I've always from day one, it's amazing. You can find people that will come into your life and only for a moment and for a season. And then there's some people that you can see them once and right then and there you will see them again. They will be part of your life. And you're the one.
Mhm.
You are one of the many women that I have connected over the years that have crossed my path. And I can always say, no matter what, we don't have to talk in years, but
Mhm.
when we do connect, it's an instant connection. We
Yes.
know we made the connection for life.
Yes.
So I love you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, I love you too. And I just have to share this. This is the behind the scenes. But I have to share that when I texted you last week and you were in New York and you were like, hi, and I said, hi, beautiful. And you was like, your daughter to me. And I was like, I mean, you talk about warm my heart just burst. I was like a daughter. I mean, that was just so special. And I know that we had that
Oh,
conversation. When you just called me daughter, I was just like,
yes, my
I mean,
daughter.
and I told you, my heart just melted, it just came out of my chest. And I mean, just to know how you look at me in such a way is just beautiful. And not having my mother here, you know how special that is to me. And like I said, you've always been consistent, always been encouraging, like you even share, even if we haven't talked in some time,
Yeah.
we're texting, or it's like we pick right back up. It's just,
We
it's
have
just
missed a
it's
beat.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Not miss a beat. Oh, and it's like we know each other, we're there, right? We always know that we're there for each other. And that's the beautiful thing.
And the beautiful thing, we're talking off cuff, but
Yes.
I felt that feeling or had that feeling ever since your mother left,
Mm.
that I had to protect you. Not really protect you because you handle your own business, but I'm just saying being there for you.
Yes.
I've always sensed that.
Mhm.
And so now that we're having this we're having this conversation on a conversation, right?
Right, right, right.
um, yeah, it's great. Thank you so much for being in my life.
Oh, thank
Thank you.
you. And that's the beautiful thing about having this platform is that people can now share in even some of the private conversations and how this is real. Peggy, this is real connection, right?
Yes.
This is
Yes.
really what connecting is about. And that's why I thought it was so wonderful and so special to have you here on this particular month because I honor you in that way. And truly, like I said, you are the glue. You are pivotal. When I think of connection, I think of women, community, organization. I think of you all the time. I mean, that's just, like I said, it shaped my view. And that's just what has been a staple for me. So I'm so excited that you're here. I know you have this powerful gift of bringing women together. I like to say it's your superpower. It is your absolute superpower. So I just want you to share a bit more, Peggy, about yourself, your background, and what inspired you to be a connector of women, because you just do it so effortlessly, so wonderfully, so enthusiastically, and so passionately.
It's amazing. I grew up with five sisters. And then, being in a house with five women, along with my mom and my brother, one brother, we had this bond that is everlasting. Okay, we're in our senior years. Let me put it out there. Okay, and to today, we still have that bond. We have that bond that no matter whatever happens to you, we're there for you. And so this is carried on from years and years and years. I can go back when I was maybe 5 or 6, 7 years old, and in a community where we lived, the neighborhood kids would come to my house. Everybody's house they avoided, but they came to my house, I guess because they were all girls there. And in the basement, I had set up a classroom setting. So I didn't know what I was doing back there set me up for what I'm doing today. Not really in the classroom, but in a setting where I can motivate and to inspire and encourage women. I had no clue. Had no clue. But I'm thankful for the opportunity to come from a household with five sisters that each one of us had our own personality, but a sweet personality, a one that was giving. All of us have the same personality, but in a different way. And I'm just so blessed that I did not know that was perpetuating to what we're doing today with Sisters for Sisters Network. So I'm truly blessed.
And that is so beautiful, because I just had an older brother, so I didn't grow up with sisters. So some of my best friends are my sisters that I've been friends with for 40 plus years and things like that. But to know that the bonding and the connection, because that's how it was. I think my first, and I didn't have an older sister or grow up with or have a sister, but I had my mother who was like a sister.
Like a
But
sister, yeah.
she was mom. Like let's not. She was mom, but at the same time, that sisterly bond, and so that I know for me gave me the opportunity to have that sisterly love and affection. And I didn't realize, and you're talking about and I know that you do have sisters, but realizing that even sometimes, even among women, and not realizing that everyone didn't have those bonds growing up. And that,
Yeah.
we'll talk about that more, but that shapes women's view of how they're able to connect. And we'll talk about that. But I didn't understand until as I got older, as we become more mature and seasoned, we understand that these things can impact. Because like I said, I didn't grow up with sisters, but my mom became like best friend, sister
Best friend.
girlfriend.
Yes.
But at the same time, there can be dynamics when people grow up that kind of can muddy the waters,
So
if you
different
like to say that,
directions. Yeah.
for the connection, and really looking at connection, Peggy, in a different way, than what
Exactly.
because for us it's natural. And like you said, you were 7 years old in the basement, you didn't know, but you've been educating, inspiring, advocating for women, and we'll lead into that through your organization. But that was something you always did, connecting women, empowering women, something I've always loved to do. And so it's a thing that we love to do, but just finding out over the time, and like I said, talk more about how that picture of connecting is different for women in a way that I didn't realize until, growing up and kind of seeing that. So that's a good segue to talk about your baby, Sisters for Sisters Network Incorporated, because I know the organization's been around 20 years that I know of. And I know you had started shortly before we had met, but I don't know if it was 2 years, 3 years, or even 5 years. I remember the 5-year anniversary, but I don't know, kind of when you started it. But I know that you've been fostering connection and community among women. And so what has been the most impactful ways that you've been able to cultivate meaningful relationships among women?
This is something that I just started maybe about a year ago. I've been doing one-on-ones. Okay. Did not really realize how impactful that is to be able, and not saying that I didn't do it over the years, but I felt that I needed to spend more time to really truly understand what these ladies are going through. Okay. And because what is going on today, it is much needed so than ever. But I start doing a 30-minute conversation with them. And it was amazing. I was finding out so much more information. I thought I knew them. Not until I did this one-on-one and getting to the root
Mhm.
of where they are and where they want to go. And so when I start doing that, then I have all of this up here. So when I'm out and about, they don't have to worry because I'm looking out for them.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Look, if I'm talking to someone and I find out what they're doing, even if they're from West Chicago, okay, and I got somebody in my organization is from East Chicago, I'm going to make that connection
Yes.
because you'd be surprised how that opens up to a conversation that is surprisingly to both of them.
Mhm.
So I just love connecting. I love understanding where women are and how I could add value. That's the key.
Mhm.
It's about communication. You have to know how to talk to people, how to treat people, and how to make things happen. And that's all I do. I love what I do. And we can spend all day, all night talking about this, but next question.
Yeah, that's what, but it's so natural. But what you talked about is adding value, and then also the piece you're talking about is nurturing
Yeah,
relationships, and that's what we try to do in Beautiful Women. Like that mentorship is so key, and it doesn't have to be someone senior to you. It's just the mentorship that we've shared life experiences. When I was
exactly.
in before I started Beautiful Women, I was a part of an international community where I met someone who's actually part of a Beautiful Women because we were together in that community, and having the loss of our mothers was able to bond us. And so sometimes we don't realize that, just again, the importance of connection. We
Yeah.
need each other. We need to ensure that we're not feeling or sitting somewhere thinking that we have to isolate ourselves, because we don't. The power of connection is so important. And like you said, just being able to connect someone from East Chicago to West Chicago, or
Yeah.
imagine they're in Texas, North Texas, South, like big places, or even in where I am in Delaware, a small place, you still, even though it's 6 degrees of separation, there's still somebody that may move to the area, didn't know. And then you find out you connecting with somebody who knew somebody, that family was somebody, like it, and
No, they find out they're related.
they're
Okay.
right, and they're related, right? And that just, and again, it makes people come alive, and it gives them just what they need at that moment, and it may be what catapults them into their next. We don't know.
Yeah.
Our job is just wanting to see people connect, right?
That's
See
the
people
key.
connect. That's the key. And so we're in a world that I shared earlier that often celebrates independence. Women, be independent, be strong, be this. But why is, and I think we kind of touch on this, that true community and connection is so essential, particularly among women, because sometimes
Yeah.
women, they may not believe that they really need that, because some women think, and I've heard expressions, I don't do women and all these kind of things, and I
Yeah.
try to shape people's mindset around shared experiences, in that as women there is a unique way that we have been, first of all, built by God. And
Yes.
there's a way that we can still communicate to one another, that I think can touch each other in a nurturing way that sometimes we may not always get, and think that we can't get from another person. Like I said, there's been dynamics maybe in people's childhood. What I find that, some women who may or may not have the relationship that I thought every woman had with their mom, like I had,
Hmm.
right? And
Yep.
and I realized that, my late 20s, oh no, they don't have that, or they, and you see that dynamic play out, and you're like, oh, now I know. And
Now.
so now I know. But that can keep women from saying, well, I want to connect with other women because of maybe the relationship that they had with their mother or didn't have.
Right.
It's such a critical role. And like you said, when you start talking to people, like you just shared, you find out, I knew them, but did I really know them when they start sharing those things? Because sometimes, as you share, and I'm big about that, Peggy. You started something with me on that. We start talking about the root. When you start digging at the root of things and really uncovering what is it, because there's always something that is a reason for, is a reason for why people may not want to connect, because that is not our human nature not to
That's
be
it.
connected. God even created us for relationships, so how could we not want to connect, and particularly with other women? And so I just think bringing that to the forefront, why do you believe it's so essential? I have my reasons, but I want to, you've had more experience too with it as
Well,
well.
you made a comment. I have been around several women who have said, "Oh, I just can't do women. That's not my forte," and it hurts my heart when they say that because, we can't live without another soul. I mean, let's face it. You can do a business, but you need about 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9 other people to help you run that business if you want to be successful,
Mhm.
because you don't carry all the skill set that it would need to run a business. You might know how the surface of the business and how that individual plays a role, but you need to be able to take that and delegate that responsibility. And so I always say, if you want to do a business and do it right, you got to have a team.
Mhm.
You got to have the right individuals who understand what you're thinking. I have a young lady in my network, and I tell you, she is so amazing. I can say something and she can come out on the other side with thinking the same thing. And it blows my mind. I'm like saying, well, how did you know that's what I was thinking about? But she has the answer to what I'm thinking. And that's what you call collaboration and partnering,
Yes.
when you
Yes.
can do that. And when women say that, oh, I don't do women, I don't go to events with women, I can't connect with them, it's very sad.
Mhm.
It's very sad.
Yeah. And because there is something there, because there is something to glean,
Yeah.
like in any area. There is something to glean, and I, like you said, sometimes it can be very hurtful to hear that, because you're like, what happened,
Hmm.
what made, because there's a root of, like you said, we got to stay on that root. There's a root to something that made you
Something
feel as
happened.
though that you can't, right? And so, we want to, particularly on this podcast, dispel that myth, because just our relationship over 20 years and the many women that we've connected, many women that we've experienced, and many, like, it does change people. It does help. It is a support system. It's just also getting around the right environment too.
Right, exactly. And it's being right around the being in a room where you feel comfortable can make an impact on how other people feel about you. Okay. I have gone to many events, and boy, as soon as I hit the door, these ladies recognize me, and I'm like, but I don't remember you. I remember the face, but I don't remember the name. But it's so warm to me that women understand and appreciate sisterhood, who
Mhm.
understand the value that each one of us bring to each other. And I live my life feeling good about life. I live my life doing what I love to do. I live my life. If today is my last day, I'm okay with that, because I felt that I've done what I'm supposed to do, and that's to add value. None of us can walk this earth and feel that you got it all,
Yeah,
because you don't.
we don't.
You don't have it. And so I suggest that we as women, well, let's get it together and realize that we're going to need another sister to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. We're all pieces in the big puzzle of God's master plan.
That's it.
He connects us, and there's something called divine connection. There are divine connections that we miss out on. You were a divine connection. There are divine connections that we miss out on when we don't allow ourselves the space to be in places and rooms and opening up ourselves to another woman. I think it's just, over the years, my one of my longest friendships, I just on the playground. We just started having a conversation. I was talking about a little Tupperware she used to bring for her, like, oh, just being that person, just to start a conversation. And years later, it just takes one thing. It's not, it has to be something monumental. It's just being who you are, right? It's
Exactly.
just being,
Exactly.
like I said, the ease that you do it, the enthusiasm. It's just being who you are. And it's also, I believe in us, of wanting people to feel wanted, wanting people to feel love, wanting people to feel, as you say, add value, but we want people to feel valued, right? That's one of the things that I think is a core too. And so,
Exactly.
like, if you
Exactly.
want to feel value, we get in places that can make you feel that way.
Well, I just want to say, I think many times, what would it be without having a sister or another female? What if it's just only men that walk this earth and I was the only female? Okay. What would that feeling be like to have another sister walk into the room and she looks like you? It's a beautiful thing. And I just thank God that He planted a lot of women on this earth with different talent, different skill set. Just being able to add value to each other is a beautiful thing.
And that's where our power is. So I shared earlier, our powers are leveraging the skills and
Yeah,
the gifts that each of us have and coming together. It actually makes for a bigger impact.
there
You know
you
what I mean?
go.
Like you said, you can do certain things alone, but there are limits to that because each of us have a capacity. Even if we have a great capacity, even if we can handle a lot of things, as women, many times we can handle a lot on our shoulder with the capacity to do a whole lot, but we do it at the risk of burnout, which we've talked about on podcasts previously. Who wants to be burnt out? Like no one really wants to be in that place, but we tend to put ourselves in that place because we're trying to do it all because the world tells us be this superwoman, put your
Yeah,
cape on, do it all. But the reality is we don't have to do it all, and we have people who want to uplift us, want to be there, want to be able to collaborate, which is
there
another
you
thing we
go.
do as well, which is so important to making things happen. Right, that's one of your words too, make it happen. Like collaborating is one of the things I know you picked. That's one of your words too. That's how we can make it happen, using and leveraging the strengths of others. So
Mm.
I think we've kind of talked about some of the barriers, but are there any other barriers that you believe have been keeping women from really building those meaningful and purposeful connections? We're all about purpose here, but those purposeful connections that really can add value to their life.
I think I have experience talking and having conversation with women when I do these one-on-ones that they have experienced something traumatic happening to them as a child,
Mhm.
which accumulates, and the older they get, it begins to wear and tear on them. Um, and that I think pulls a lot of women out of their space and out of their comfort zone because they realize that they have been missing something until you open them up and turn the key to the conversation. They begin to come out in a different, it's like a flower opening up.
Yes.
Okay. And they see themselves in a different light. So I feel like I'm a therapist. I think I'm a psychiatrist, but in a good way,
Yeah.
because when I add value, it's a good conversation.
Mhm.
It's a way of helping, not only helping them, it's helping me.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
a twofold. If you understand what I'm saying,
Yes.
I'm giving it and they're giving it. So it's a win-win. It might not be a happy situation, but it allows them to kind of think out of the box and look at other ways of dealing with situations. And and I'm blessed to be able to have the calmness to be able to deal with some of the situations that are going on in this world and women are dealing with. But the beautiful thing about it, they've been able to handle what has been put in front of them. So that's a beautiful thing.
And I think what you're sharing is like the coaching and the relationships. Because I even found that in my coaching and relationships that people begin to blossom, but you get just as much value as well. Because it's a different feeling when you know that you've helped someone either overcome a challenge, whatever hurdle that may be, whatever trauma that may be, and not being, like you say, in a place of therapist, but feeling like, even just coaching and mentoring, you get to know people personally in a way that, like you said, your heart actually can bleed for maybe what they've gone through.
Exactly.
You're that bridge builder, Peg. Like we're going to take them to the other side, right? And here I am. I'm that person. I'm going to water it, right? I'm going to water you. I'm going to give you some word. I'm going to water you with the word of God. Like I'm going to bring some water, right? And He's going to do the transformation. But we're going to work it out, and we're going to,
But
ensure
see,
that,
that's a partnership. You're
yes.
bringing something to the table, and I'm bringing something to the table.
Mhm.
So what we have, it's a win-win situation.
Yep. Yeah.
So you can't go wrong.
Yeah. Like it's like when you're done, there's going to be a transformation. There's going to, like, even our local butterfly, there's going to be something that you're going to get that's going to open you up. Like you say, like the flower that's blossoming, or for us, like the butterfly that's gonna, come out of the
Take
cocoon.
off.
Take off and look and wear your beautiful colors well, my sister. Wear it well. In all your splendor and all your beauty. It's gonna be so wonderful. But again, we have to avail ourselves, connect in community, open up so that
Yes.
we can see the many facets of who we are, the colors of who we are, the beauty that God created in each one of us to be what we need to be. Not, hey, just for ourselves. This is also for the lives that God sent us to touch.
But see, you have to realize also, you know, the network that I built has been amazing. And it's not only helping the women in the network, it's spinning off and helping the family.
Yes.
It could help the spouse, it could help the children, because our initiative now, I'm sure we'll talk about it later, is focusing on 4 initiatives. And the 4 initiatives are domestic violence is in the mix. You can't get around talking about domestic violence. And the reason why we talked about it was because when we were networking years ago, the conversation was talking about entrepreneurship and starting a business and how do I succeed in my business. The conversation began to change.
Mhm.
And women were beginning to talk about domestic violence, or they had experienced it themselves, or women were talking about how do I live longer? What do we do to take care of our health? And then women were talking about, well, I have young kids, I have babies. Education is my priority. And then we would also always keep entrepreneurship as the fold. So those were the 4 initiatives that we talked about. And we decided that we were going to advocate for those 4 issues. And I can go off on a different lane, but I just wanted to share that that's where the beauty comes into what we do. You know, being able to connect with each other, how to add value to each other, how to support, whether or not buying a product or services, supporting a business, or when someone lose a loved one, being there, sending a card, showing up, being part of survival, providing services, goods and services. I can go on and on the things that we have done, and I didn't want to go off on what we were talking about, but I just wanted to bring that up to show you that we need each other
Yes.
more so now than ever.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we do. And there, like you said, there's so many. And I remember, like I said, when I came into the area where I was living, it was more professional. So I want to be professional women. And like you said, you start off talking about entrepreneurship. But we have to realize that we are always, and this is one of the things that now Beautiful Bold Women being a year and a half old, is I understand we deal with the whole woman. That's why
Yes,
we do the spiritual, mental, physical, and financial well-being. Because even in that, when you talk about abuse, there could be financial well-being, there could be financial abuse. There's other areas, of control that can be domestic that will touch or someone needs assistance with. And so we have to touch the whole one. We have to be able to have these areas. And that's why it's so important to be in community, in organizations, like Sister for Sister Network, be in a community like Beautiful Bold Women,
yeah.
because then you understand, first of all, you're not alone. Right? You understand that somebody else has gone through, because
Somebody's going through it.
the enemy wants you to think, oh, no one's been through that but you, or oh, you're, the isolation, as I talk about, isolation is the enemy's bread, right? It can be something that women can shield themselves off and not realize their answer is in that woman next to them. The answer is in that event that they go to, and just by chance, you know what, I'm gonna get past me, how I feel, and let me go. And then they find it was the best decision they could have made, because now they connected with someone in that environment that changed, somebody say, everything. I mean, it really can.
And it's surprisingly, you said that, because you don't know what the woman sitting right beside you is going through. And then when you turn around and you look at each other, and one word can tell it all, that you're experiencing the same thing. Okay. And then that begins to turn into a bond, that you have a connection with someone who understands what you're going through. That's the beauty of connecting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the beauty of building relationship, which
Yeah.
connections do. And that's why God, even in relation with us, he said, don't ever look at the outward appearance. I look at the heart, but we have to understand how we get to someone's heart is when they talk out their mouth. Out of the abundance of the mouth, the heart speaks. So when we hear people talk out of their mouth, their heart now is on display. And now we can come in and say, you know what? I hear you. And we have someone that may have gone through that, or we have someone we can connect with, or our heart is open enough that we can say, like you say, let me have a one-on-one. Let's talk, right? And
Exactly.
again, help them to the other side. That is the power of connection. It truly is the power of connection. And so I want to move into the network, because your organization is about networking, the resources, the support, the things that you do within your community that I've been, or your organization that I've been a part of as well, and experienced. But networking, I'll say this, when I started out in corporate America, years ago, they say go network, everybody had their business cards. Right now, everybody has their digital cards and they got their social media handles. This is all great, right? But networking, I always felt like I am someone who loves to empower women, connect with people. But when someone says, oh, let's go network, I was like, so even when you said Sister network, in the back of my mind, I probably was still thinking, "Oh, network," but because it was you, I'm like, I'm showing up because I do want to, meet with. But it's just sometimes in networking, I found that it could be more transactional than relational, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it had been particularly the old style. Now there's new, and now social media people aren't even they're connecting through the internet, but not connecting people one on
Face
one.
to
We
face.
bring people in a room, right? So
Yeah.
really connect and love on each other. But at the end of the day, I know that's how I felt of networking. There might be people out there who may still may not identify with the just exchange of business cards. We're in such a more technologically driven world now, but still may feel like, well, I don't really want to network, because I always found that when I go out, I want to ask the person, what is it that you do? Not just your name, give me a card, but what is it you do? Because like you said, a lot of times you have in your mind, like I have in my mind, when you meet them, somebody's going to click either the area that they're in, the type of job they have. You may know someone that does similar work, or you may have a client for them who wants that service. And it's so important for us to understand that, that's what really I believe networking should be about. But a lot of times it can be like, someone just giving you a card and wanting you to follow up, or just saying, because I gave you this, we connect, or because you became my Facebook friend, now we're networked. That's really not so, but okay, people want to believe that, but at some level, it's really, I believe, relational. So what are some, over the years, some of the key tips for women to network with authenticity and purpose? Because I know you were going to the Power Networking Conference. You've been doing that for years, because even when I was in the area, you were going to the Power Networking Conferences. So I know you have gotten the skills. You've been around powerful people like yourself networking. So share with us some tips on how we can do that more effectively with purpose.
When, how can I say it? I remember when, life is amazing. You think life is going to take you straight when you can have the twists and turns that take you in a different direction. I was working for a company, MCI, and a lot of young people probably don't even remember MCI, but it was a long distance company. It was a company that I just knew that I was going to retire from. Okay. Things happen. The company was sold to another gentleman, and he abused his power. He did not know when he abused his power that it impacted over 45,000 people.
Mm.
I mean, really. So the company collapsed. Okay. Well, I had already been with MCI for 23 years, and not trying to give you the long story, but trying to make it short. I That's how I was introduced to networking. It was Dr. Willie Jolly, and I'm sure you know Dr. Willie Jolly, who, when I was waiting to be released from MCI, I went across the street in Tyson's Corner to a bookstore, and in the bookstore was his book. A setup is a setup is a. Well, let me get it straight, because he'll kill me if he know that I.
A setback is a
Setback is a comeback.
I remember that.
And that was a day, I love to say this, that I had about $20. I had enough to buy the book and have lunch. I sat there and read the book, and not knowing that it was going to direct me to the workshop that he was putting on. Okay. And went to his workshop and walked into the room. And who did I run into? Was Sharon Bullock. Sharon Bullock and I went to Morgan State together, and I hadn't seen her in 25 years.
Wow.
So you see how the twist and turn, you're thinking you're going straight, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go straight. That changed my world. And Willie Jolly was saying, look, I'm going to this powerful networking conference. I'm going to be speaking there. He said, y'all guys should come on and go. And I'm like saying, hey, I got plenty of time. I just got laid off from my job. I'm just waiting to be released. Okay. Which I was happy. I wasn't sad, because I had been there for 23 years. But nevertheless, walked into the room. Sharon and I was an instant connection. When we found out that Willie was going to be speaking at the conference, I said, well, let me grab my cousin Audrey, who's a nurse. Sharon said, I'm going to pull my best friend, who is a makeup artist. And so that's where the four comes in our name. It was the four of us who decided to go to the Power Networking Conference. Now, I did not know anything about networking. I was as growing up, an introvert. I was a person, although I had 5 sisters, that was my world. Okay. I didn't need anybody else except the neighborhood kids, right? It changed my world and went to that conference. And 23 years later, I've gone to that conference every year. It changed my world. It changed my life. It taught me how to partner. It taught me how to collaborate. It taught me how to come out of my shell because I was a person that was into me to me. Okay. I could do whatever I needed to do. It was about me. Okay. But I learned a lot over those 20 some years. And I learned that you cannot do it by yourself. And if I don't say any more than that, that should open up the doors to women to say, let's get together, let's come together, let's partner together, let's change. We can change the world if we only understood the value that we bring forth to each other. And once we understand that, I think we can make an impact on all the things that are going on and take the world by a storm and make a difference and make an impact on what is going on in the world today. I can go on and talk about networking all day long. It's just that I've seen a lot of things that we do wrong.
Mm.
I've seen a lot of things that we do right. And I was always under the impression, oh, everybody knows how to network, but it's not the case. I've seen some things that really disturbed me. Like I remember one time I was at a networking event and this gentleman was talking to another gentleman, and this other gentleman from across the room walked over to him and he had his business card and he stood there the whole time. The whole time the gentleman was talking to this one gentleman, he twisted and turned. He did a 360 all the way around the card in his hand. That's not the way you do business. You know, if you see somebody's talking, you do try to wait for the right time to ease in, to have a conversation. But when I saw that, I said, that's a no-no right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've seen women know how to talk to. It's all about communication.
Yeah.
It's what comes out of your mouth. Now, a lot of people get networking as a means of, oh, I'm in the room. I have all these business cards. I'm going to give out all my business cards to everybody, and I'm going to get all the business. That's not the way it works. You have to build relationship one by one. And I think that's where a lot of people fail to realize just because you have something doesn't mean that I need it.
Mm. Mm.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
When I go out, I want to know what you're doing. I want to know how what I do can impact what you're doing, and we can do it together to make a difference in someone's lives. That's all I do when I go out. I can take your business card and I said, you know what? I can connect her to someone in the network. She needs her and she needs it's a give and take.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and it could be a win and win.
Mm-hmm.
I've just been fortunate enough that being in the network, that there has not been any disconnects. When I say disconnects, I mean two individuals cannot work together. I did business with her and she treated me wrong and I didn't get the products and services. And now that I sit back and I'm saying this, I haven't experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good feeling when you know the women that is in your community or in your tribe can work together, can support each other, to look out for each other, to love up on them. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm being very special about it because they are they're my sisters, okay?
Yes.
They're part of my tribe.
Yes.
But I've been blessed and I don't sit here and wait for it to happen. I hope it doesn't happen that you get two that cannot communicate and can't work together. I just been blessed to have some good ladies in the network.
Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing, like what you're saying, is coming out of yourself first. Like you said, we have to come out of ourselves and figure out. That's what it says. It's not transaction when you're looking at what can I give to this person rather than what I can get.
What I
And
can get.
coming with that type of
Mindset.
That's the huge part. Then you can, like somebody waiting, with somebody having a conversation just to give a card. you don't know how fruitful that exchange is going to be, because that person may feel like, yeah, I took your card because you were annoying me, but I'm not going to ever contact you.
Exactly.
And people don't think about that. But I think the biggest thing is getting in the room, coming outside of yourself and creating that relationship. That's what I'm hearing, that space
That is
where
it.
network becomes the relationship. It becomes building the relationship. And it may not be, like you said, long term, but it could be a for season or time, or it could be that person's going to connect somebody to somebody they know. And that could be all the connection could have been. And that's okay.
Let me tell you something. Last night, I'm so proud that we have a Toastmasters club within the network, because I felt that we needed that piece to help women to be able to exercise their vocabulary, to be able to speak in the public, how to have a meeting, a professional meeting. That's what Toastmasters is all about. And I'm so glad that I brought that into the network, because the women are using it. And it was so funny. Last night we had a Toastmasters meeting, and there were two ladies that came into our meetings that we didn't know them. They were brand new. They were referred. They saw our listing, and they said, "Okay, well, I want to go in and tap in and see what's going on." And they came in, and they were like butterflies,
Yes.
because they weren't expecting us as women to feel good about each other, to love up on each
Mm.
other. And they spoke so highly of just being in the room. So the
Yes.
key is being in the right room, to
In the
be
room.
honest with you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to be in the right room. And so these ladies came in, and I said to them, I said, now, you two, I need you to introduce yourself. I was not the lead. We have individuals that will lead the conversation. And out of the blue, I said we were winding down, and they were engaged in the conversation, but I didn't know anything about them. So I said to them, I said, come on, introduce yourself. Tell us who we are. Do you know those two were actually neighbors,
Mm.
lived in the same neighborhood? So what happens from that? Now they're going to reconnect. They're going to see how they can do things together. And it's not all about business. It's all
Yes.
about, it could be about, how can I serve you on a project that you're working on? Or how can I serve on a committee that you're working on at the school? You understand? It's not all about doing business.
Or just knowing your neighbor. How about that? Like they came together, didn't know each other. Now you know we're neighbors. And when you said Toastmasters, I'm like, okay, my husband, when he hear this replay, Toastmasters is his thing. He's in his club. He's had leadership positions. He is an advocate, believes in Toastmasters. I've actually spoke for their Toastmasters group at his company, and it's a way to really connect. But again, it's getting in the right rooms. And so
Yeah.
I do remember when you guys actually started your Toastmaster group within your organization. So yes, that is a way that people can truly network. So I appreciate you sharing tips, some of the do's and don'ts, if you will, and experiences that you've had. I'm going to segue, so because I want you to be able to talk more about your organization as well, because I know that's your baby.
Yeah.
And leading such an established organization like Sister for Sister Network, like I said, it's been 20 years that I know of. I don't know the actual date that you actually, I knew, like I
It'll
said, it
be,
was a few
we're
years.
going into our 23rd year.
2030. And that's what I said. It was a few years prior to
Uh-huh.
me meeting you. So I know it was probably somewhere between 22 and 25. But I know it's been incredibly rewarding for you, Peg. I know there are always challenges. Anything that we do, it's going to come with challenges. But I know that it's been incredibly rewarding. I remember one day I looked on Facebook and you were getting recognized, because you're always, like you said, you're always in rooms, big rooms that we stay with women, big, large rooms with women, not small rooms. You're always in big rooms with women. And your face, you were just like, oh, I said, oh, and I remember replying on that post, congratulations, give you your flowers, because I knew that was a moment that they got you. They
They
surprised
did.
you. And I don't know if that was early this year or late last year.
I
But
can
I
tell you what it was. It
remember.
was, I received the Presidential Volunteer Award from Dr. Cheryl Wood.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you how life works. Cheryl Wood was, I met her in Baltimore, and we connected. She had a book signing, and just one thing led to another. And I told her, I said, look, you need to go to the Power Networking Conference with us. And she said, Peggy, I don't think I can go. I don't have the money. I said, look, you go on. Renee Allen and myself made sure she got to the conference. Got to the conference that particular year. They decided to have a pitch competition. And I said, Cheryl, get on up there. And Cheryl said, Peggy, I'm not ready. I can't do that. I said, get up there. You don't want me to tell you what I really said, but I just said, get on up
In the motherly way, right?
there. Cheryl got up there and won the pitch competition. And she has been moving ever since. So for her to turn around and give me recognition blew me out of the water. And so that's what you saw on Facebook was the look I had on my face.
Yes. And so I know that in that, and yes, I see the evolvement of, of her life and career, just to know that
Yeah.
trajectory changed when you was like, get in this room, we're gonna help you get in this room, and then just changing everything. That is so amazing.
Yes, yes.
And I want to just learn how this has impacted your life personally, your journey that you've had with this organization, shaped you and impact your life, because this is your life. This is what you've been doing.
It's been my life. I have been blessed to retire from my good government job, not the federal, it's the local, okay? Prince George's County government. 15, no, let me take that back, 10 years ago. So by that happening, it allowed me to put more time and energy into what the organization was all about. Okay. So yes, I live, I breathe, I go to bed, I wake up. Everything is about how can I impact someone? And that's a good feeling. And you also got to remember, you got to have a good spouse.
Yes.
If you do not have a good spouse who understands what you're doing, that can lead to some issues. Yes. If you understand what I'm saying.
I do.
And I have been blessed to have a husband who does not interfere. He knows what I'm doing. He knows that I'm adding value. So when I'm adding value to them, he's adding value to me because he's freeing me up to do the things I want to do. There might have been one time that we had a miscommunication, and that's life. That happens. But as a whole, he is my number one cheerleader. And you got to have someone who understands what you're doing. If not, it's not going to work. And you just, well, let's forget it because the man says he's in charge. And I've just been blessed to have a husband that understands, and he adds more value than anyone else in this world.
Right. And that they are, and I will say that I shared that as well. My husband's so supportive. Even before I got on, he was like, honey, I'm going to be sharing it out. It was 10 minutes before we're going on. He's like, he just is so supportive. It's like, he's working, he's busy, but he's like, I'm going to remember to do this, for my wife, just being supportive. And I believe that God also knew, the work that we would be doing, and having partners who are not intimidated, who truly want what we want to really bless people, because they see it. They see our blessing people. They see, the giftings that we have. They see the hearts that we have, My husband knows he can't stop me from giving. He's like, I know you're going to get, I'm not going to say nothing, but I know that's just you. Like he advocates for me to do more of it, even when I'm like, no, I shouldn't do it. He's like, honey, it's you. Go ahead, you're going to do it. Like because it's me. But that is so important. And just you sharing that, and thank you for bringing that up, that our spouses are so important behind the work. So even though we're connecting women with men behind the work, that's giving us the ability to be able to do it at the level that we've been, I believe, called to do. And I appreciate that. You sharing that. That is so good. I know you guys got some awesome projects. I know when I talk to you, you're already in your 2026 calendar. I'm like, Lord, I'm trying to get through my 2025. Now, I wasn't good at 2025, but I'm not on 2026. So, and I'm a planner. I'm an A to Z girl, but I'm learning, God, I'm just going to lean on you. We're going to get this year done. But I know there's good things that you guys, like you said, just in the 4 areas that you foundationally have you do different events. But if there's anything that you like to share that you're very excited about that's coming up, a project or an event that you would love to share on this platform, then please do so.
You know what? I am so blessed that I have women in the organization who understand what we're doing. If they don't understand what you're doing, then it's hard for you to lead. It's hard for you to do the things that you want done to impact. I'm a visionary, so I can see from afar of things that we can do to impact. And I'm blessed, like as I mentioned, we have the 4 initiatives. So in domestic violence, we have done fundraisers um, to raise funds, and we take those funds and give it out to like the Prince George's Family Justice Center or to another women's organization to support. Under education and mentoring, I am so blessed that we have a group of ladies, and I must call out her name, Dr. Lloyd Dorsey, who oversees our education and mentoring. And we've been able to do youth summits and scholarship expo, not only in Prince George's County, but also in Baltimore. And I'm talking about with collaboration and partnering, we're giving out like $15 million. In one
Wow.
location, these students are hungry for the money. And we're able to connect these universities and colleges and bring them into Baltimore and into Prince George's County at youth summits. And they're giving out thousands of dollars. So I'm really, really proud of that. Um, there's so many things that we're doing under entrepreneurship. We're working with other collaborations where there are courses that are virtual that our membership can take advantage of. We have the Black Wall Street that we do every year with Donnie Glover out of Baltimore.
Awesome.
Uh, Boy, we're working on a health fair this summer. So I'm just proud that each one of our initiative, we got some good stuff going on that is impacting the community, that we're changing lives. And if
Yes.
it's only one, that's only one, but I can guarantee you we're making a difference.
Yes. And that one sometimes is enough because that one is who God designed when you had that event or whatever it is to touch.
There you go.
All right, and it's so amazing because I'm sitting here listening to all the things that you've done just in those four areas, and they're big things. There's a lot of different things in there. And I know you've done some awards gala, you've done other things as well. But I remember being around the room with 15 to 20 women, right? And now hundreds and impacting thousands and just impacting the youth, the next generation. That is just I just want to commend you and your organization for all that you do and have done and will do, because I think it's so
Thank
powerful and
you.
so needed.
And let me say this. As again, I can't do it by myself. I have these ladies who step up to the plate, who I don't have to ask. They know we team up, we make it happen. And it's all about, and you said it so clearly, legacy building. We want to be able to, all the things that we're doing, we want to be able to say, hey, let's set this up so that the next generation that comes behind us can take the ball and run with it. That's all we want.
Mhm.
That's all we want.
Awesome. Well, I know that women who will listen to this, who are listening live, but those who will listen to the replay, will truly be inspired by what you do, the work you've done. Look, see, my husband, he's going to jump on here. He's going to find a way. He's going to
Is
get
that
the questions.
one?
Yeah, he's going to get the questions in. So we're going to get those questions answered as well. So if those of you who have questions, please go ahead, put your questions in the chat. We want to be able to answer your questions. But we're going to go ahead to Mr. Jones's. I got to yield to my husband. What is your biggest challenge building your network, and did you ever want to give up?
Oh my God, that's a good one. Warren, thank you.
He's the one. He's going to bring some good questions.
Let me tell you something. I'm not saying we have had all bad days or bad events or bad attitudes or whatever you want to call it. I have really been blessed. There are times when I'm like saying, maybe this was not for me to continue, but only for a moment.
Mhm.
Because all of a sudden I begin to think about all the good stuff that happened. You can't throw away all the good stuff with the bad stuff.
Yeah.
You understand? I can say it's to a minimum. It's very rare that I could walk away and say, I've just had enough. I can't do this any longer. Yes, if you talk about burnout, yes, I've had my share of burnout because I took on some things that was overwhelming. Let's put it that way. Trying to do too many things at one time. That happens.
Yeah.
None of us are escaped from that. But to say any challenges, I'm blessed.
Yeah. 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 And those challenges are also learning experience, but also in some way with the challenge you had, I'm sure somebody was blessed. Even if we felt differently about it, somebody got something out of it, or coming to an event, someone met someone, connected with someone, and so it was still fruitful. Because that's how it is for me. It's like understanding, the way we may look at fruit, we don't realize how many people we're impacting, and that we're very fruitful. And like I said, even if it's just the one, that is still very, very fruitful. And so there are going to be challenges in anything. There's challenges when people
Yeah.
work every day. Like there's challenges, but I think our heart for truly wanting to bring women together, wanting to bring women in an organization to network, provide resources, support like you do. And for me, wanting women in a community where they can live out their purpose and really understand their whole well-being. It's almost like this is an assignment, right? This is
Yes.
something that,
Yep.
even if you say, I want to throw up my hands, because I've had my throw up my hands moment,
Yeah.
on different things, not just in this in general, but this, when God gives you a work, you want to continue to do it. But like you said, you need the help, you need the support, and women will come alongside because they see the value in it. But it's just getting women to see the value and moving forward in it, because it has not only, I believe, impact here on earth, I believe it has eternal impact, because when we do what we've been assigned to do, we've been purposeful to do, like you said, if I leave here tomorrow, I'm good. Why? Because you have fruit that remains.
I've done my job.
What God has called you to do. You've connected women. You've connected me with women, like Dr. Jennifer, who was on here last month talking about
I
elevating.
saw that. Yes.
I called you. I said, Peg, I'm having an event in DC. It's about Legacy Weekend Experiences. What it's about. He's like, I got somebody for you. And went right to the Rolodex of my mind in 1 second. And then within a few minutes, Dr. J and I were on the line, and we talked just like we knew each other for years. And now it's been 4 years later, and just
oh my God, it's been that long.
Yes,
we had an amazing time,
because the event was supposed to be in 2022, but because of COVID was still lingering, and DC was having bigger cases, we moved it to January 2023. But yes, that's,
oh my God.
And I was just like that, and that has been so wonderful. And I'm saying that's what you do, right? That's what we do. And we got to understand that really makes a big difference. It really just the one. It makes a big difference in all of our lives, right? In all of our lives.
So it said, put questions in the comments.
Yes, we have some questions. If you have questions, we want to put those in the chat. We're at the top of the hour. So go ahead and ask your questions. If you have questions for Peggy, this is about the power of connection. She is the one to do it. She's the bridge builder. This is her lane. This is what she does so very well and has so much experience. As she shared, she has not missed one power networking conference in 23 years. So if you want to know how to do it, she is the woman that gets it done.
Well, Tamara, it has been amazing.
Awesome.
I thank you for the opportunity to share. I'm about sharing. I don't have the answers for everything, but I have a few.
You have a wealth of wisdom. That's what I was going to say. You have nuggets and advice. I know that, and we won't belabor, because I know that you have had, nuggets and pieces of wisdom, and, anything that you want to share. We don't have, from my team, we don't have any additional questions, but if there's one, nugget of wisdom you want to leave with us, we want to do that. And then we're going to go ahead and wrap things up unless we get any questions.
One of the things that I lived through is, I always tell the women in the network, be careful what you say out of your mouth, because you never know who is sitting on the right of you, and you don't know who's sitting on the left of you. Never let somebody standing behind you. And when you're in a room and you're talking about somebody, you're talking about somebody, and it could be hurtful or it could be innocent. But I always just try to tell them, be mindful. Just be mindful of what you say out of your mouth, because it could do more damage. Because I've been in a situation where someone was talking about someone and found out it was the person's sister that they were talking about, which causes fiction. You understand? Because you know what she did? She went back and she shared it with her sister, her biological sister. And so that's why I'm saying, just be mindful. It's enough good stuff going on. If you want to talk about something good.
Yes.
Okay?
And then you never know who you're making uncomfortable when you're having those conversations.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's really about building others up. not, tearing anybody. And that's nothing that either you or I and in our organizations and communities ever want to do. I always say you want people to feel wanted. And I think that's the thing about our heart. And then what we shared earlier is getting the right rooms.
There you
It'll
go.
change
That's
your life.
it.
So if you ever get in that room, that's not the norm, right? You just know that. But I say get in these rooms, get into Sisters for Sisters network, incorporated. Get in the Beautifully Bold Women community and find the love, the space. And so the last thing I want to share is there anything that we can do, Peggy, to support, collaborate, or engage to further your work? Just let us know because we are here and we want to continue to support in any way that we can.
That is so beautiful. We're in a stage right now that we as women need to really, truly support and connect. You don't have to be in the same room. You don't have to be in the same city. You don't have to be in the same state because of technology controls that. We can use internet. We can use Zooms to do meetups. And we're really on a mission right now. We just came back from the United Nations, and to be able to be among women of all races, all shapes, all colors, blue, black, and green. It's was a feeling that it's a lot of good stuff going on in this world that a lot of people don't even know about. And if we can all come together to just share and to support one another, we can make an impact in this world. So I just suggest that if anybody's interested in wanting to know what we do and collaborate with us, you can be in your city and we could come and support. That's what we do. Women in our network, when we find out that something's going on, we gavinate, we go and we support and we show up. That's where you show leadership. That's where you show um, loving up on each other. And it's a beautiful thing when you can do that. And I just say, you're welcome to connect with us. Like I said, you have the internet, you have a means of getting contact, you have mobile phones. You can pick up the phone and call us. And if you'd like to have the phone number is 240-678-0117. Reach out to us. You'll be surprised the individuals that are willing to work and just help to inspire you and just make a difference in someone else's lives.
Yes. And she means it. When I had my event, y'all came in like 5, 6 deep. And you had your, and people don't know you do your photography. She was like, you had me come out of retirement, Tamara, but you did it. You had my photos and everything. So I appreciate
Well, you know what? I came out of retirement, but it's dangerous when you have your mobile phone that has a camera, right? This camera right here, my mobile phone probably has about 10,000 photos.
Still working.
I wouldn't be surprised, okay?
It's in you. It's in you. But I just love you, Peggy. I thank you so
love
much.
you
We
too.
want to celebrate you for making a difference in this world. We celebrate you. Happy Women's History Month. You have made our month, and we just want to salute and celebrate you. So we thank you so much for giving you your virtual flowers. We want to.
I'll take them. I'll take them.
All the love from Beautifully Bold Women, and we will definitely continue to find ways in which we can collaborate. And of course, I'm just a phone call, or I watch what you do. DC is my stomping ground. I'm there. Just you don't need to give me a reason. I'm coming. So, but I appreciate you.
You know where to find us, okay?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for being on here tonight. Thank you for all of you who have tuned in live. And again, please share this conversation with others that you know that will benefit them. Make sure that you share this podcast with other women. Make sure you also join our email list at Beautifully Bold Women. You can go on our beautifullyboldwomen.com website, or you can go onto our Instagram at Beautifully Bold Women, and you can click on the link and you can make sure that you join our email list, get our inspirational emails, always find out what's going on, the events that we're doing, and what we're doing next, because we're doing some great things next as well. We call it Spring Forward with BBW, so make sure you like and subscribe, first of all, to YouTube, and also follow us on Instagram at Beautifully Bold Women. But we thank you so much, Peggy, once again, for being our very special guest for Women's History Month. And we thank you all for tuning in. Have a great night.
Bye-bye.